Unit 1 is not on canvas, so it's gone right. Yes. Nope. For world history, you guys, it's whatever's on canvas. For dual credit, it's everything, basically, since your semester 1 exam. What units is it over? So I'll just type them out here for you. So for world history, it's, oh gosh, unit 7 through, and whatever we just ended at. So I'll just call that Cold War. And then for DCUSH, we kind of switched halfway, so it's everything second semester, and they should know what that is. Oh, Annie, look what I just found in my bag. It was in my bag. Boss. I wish. How many questions will there be about Reagan? Well, I mean, I would say there's as many as there need to be. Reagan is an important guy for the 1980s. You really can't talk about the 1980s without talking about Reagan. You know, depending on how you feel about him. Just guess depends, but he is an important dude. So I guess that's what I'd say about Reagan. see if I can figure out how to do some music in the background here, because I realize that it's pretty darn boring without music. Let's see. Are there going to be specific questions from the text? What do you mean, the text? That can mean a lot of things. Can you explain guerrilla war a little bit? Sure. Guerrilla wars is what you do when you're up against a superior army. So you it emphasizes kind of like small groups of people fighting. You normally don't, if you want to live, you normally don't communicate with other groups too often. You don't confront enemies directly in large, kind of like open combat. You really kind of do more kind of like hit and run kind of tactics. Sabotage is very popular in guerrilla warfare. And really you're just kind of like trying to bleed the enemy out until that's why we call it a war of attrition, because you just eventually give up unless you figure out a way to crush it. So that's guerrilla war. And are there going to be specific questions from the text? I don't know what you mean. So as soon as you know what that, I mean, you were talking about Reagan beforehand. So I gave you a little bit of text on Reagan, but not very much. I assume that you should know how to do that. My DCUSH people. You should be able to look at a text by now and be able to understand it. Okay, so here's where I'm going to try to get a little bit of background. So I'm going to bring it down a whole bunch. And then I'm going to have you guys tell me whether or not this volume level is okay. Because I'm going to depend on you to tell me if this is correct. I think my computer's going to hate me, though, because I'm streaming YouTube and doing this and a whole bunch of other stuff. So let's see if this works. Oh, hey, new subscriber. Whoop, whoop. Thank you, Fragile72. Must be French. Or is it Italian? Ah, see? Oh, look at that. It worked. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that subscriber worked. Oh, man. My meme heart is so happy. Okay, so I can't hear this music, but you guys can. Is it too loud? You just gotta tell me. From the books we were given online. No, there won't be any questions from that, because I've already assessed you on all the different little projects we've done. Regular Civ, how much do we need to know on the Ottoman and the Industry civilizations? I don't want to study for it extensively, and there will be like one question on it. Makes sense? what I would do for the Ottomans is I would go and I would focus on too loud fam is too lit. Alright, I'll turn it down a little bit. Good to know. That's why I ask. See if that's a bit better. I'll let somebody respond to it and tell me that that's at the correct volume before I answer this question. Yeah, it's okay. I can play the music later. I was just experimenting. Okay, so how much are we to know in the Ottoman and Indus civilizations? I don't want to study for it extensively. Play Linkin Park album in the background. No, I'm okay. Thanks. How much are we to know on the Ottoman and Indus civilizations? For the Ottoman, you definitely want to know Janissaries. You want to know how they become powerful, how they work. For the Indus River, there's a lot of different stuff in the Indus Sandstorm. Oh god, isn't it Daruda? I don't think it's Druid, is it? It's like Darude or something like that. No, in the Ottoman and Indus River civilizations. Indus River, there's quite a few there. You need to make sure. Well, if we go look here, let's actually go look. Here, I'm gonna flip it over so you guys can see my screen. Just 1 second. Yeah, I would play Daruda, but I'm pretty darn sure they would claim that for copyright. So, okay. Just going to type this shit out over here. Okay, and do that. All right, so you guys now should be able to see my desktop. Awesome. So if we go to Canvas here, let's see. Problem is I can't see my face when I'm doing this, which is kind of awkward. Let's see. Topic 2, topic 3, topic 4, topic 6. Semester 2, topic 7. So nothing in topic 7 is the Indus River Valley. Too far, good lord. Okay, 8 and 9. Yep, so there's the Ottoman Empire. There's only one thing on the Ottoman Empire, so that's really not that much. So you have the Mughals, and that's the main one in India. And I don't know if we've done anything in India since then. No, I don't think we have at all. Yeah, so it's really the Mughals. That's what I thought. I didn't think because we do a lot more stuff with India back in first semester. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Yep. So that's not too bad at all. That's perfectly fine. Okay. Daruda. The music that they play at every techno joint of all time. Yeah, I remember Sandstorm. It's a classic. If techno music had classics, but to be honest, no one did anything while you were gone. well, that sucks for them. What all did we cover while you were gone? A lot of things. I'm not going to go through all of it because it was there available for you, and at that point, sucks to suck. Because I did my part in getting it all there, and it should have been pretty darn easy for people to go through and click a mouse pad a whole bunch of times and get it done. So I'm not going to apologize for that, even though I know that that sounds harsh. I mean, I can tell you when I left, it actually really wasn't that much stuff. It was the nation state project, because I know that because my kid was born on the 4th, and then you had a work day, then you turned it in, and then you had World War I, and then I came back halfway through World War II. So, I mean, I can go over the Russian Revolution, World War I, and World War II, like, on YouTube or something, but no, you don't need to be sorry. I mean, it is what it is. It's okay. It's, you know, how life gonna be. Can't change the past now, but don't worry, Ridgy, I did. I'm gonna guess that that's Kamzy, but that's a really interesting nickname for you, Kamzy, if that's really true. Or it's Jacob, because Jacob also, I think, calls me Reggie, which is kind of weird. Let's see. I mean, yeah, I can do, like, the Russian Revolution, World War I, and World War II, but I don't know if I can do those in 2 hours. That would be ridiculous if I could get through all that. But, I mean, I can hit, like, a part of it that doesn't make sense. Like, most people get caught up on, like, how World War I got started. Most people can't really keep that all straight. And then for the Russian Revolution, most people tend to struggle with actually, like, again, the steps. It's kind of like the French Revolution. There's a lot of steps in it, and it kind of makes it confusing. And then World War II, that's just honestly, like, spending time with the content. But I'm still confused on the cooling of tensions started. Oh, okay, it's Pat. Okay. But I'm still confused on how the cooling of tensions started. Wasn't it the current president at the time, and that was Reagan? Yeah, that was Reagan. To a point. So, here, let me go open up, like, a Google drawing here, because this will be easier for me to do. Okay, so you're going to see, like, Inception here for about 3 seconds. Okay, so let's go open up. So the best way that I can explain Cold War approaches is if I draw it. And I know that's kind of weird, but it's what I got to do. Okay. Google would be proud of me. Okay, so let's see. So we've got our drawing here, and I have no idea if you guys can see this, but I'm going to assume you can. Okay. Yeah, so let's see if I can bring up Game Show over here, so that way I can see what you guys see. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. Sorry, I'm messing with multiple monitors here. So now I can flip back and forth between the chat. Oh, this is perfect. Okay, wonderful. So, if we're looking here at the drawing, right? So, here's how it works. So I'll need to grab a couple brackets here. 1 second. Let's think, what would this be best? Yeah, I can just scribble it. Okay. Oh, that's a beautiful scribble. Okay, and then just cut that off, sure. And then boink. All right. So the Cold War really kind of goes. It's 3 steps. It's never this way, like when you look at it. But if you need to think of it this way, if you need to think of it this way, this is fine. So it kind of goes through 3 steps. So we have. So you need to understand that MAD kind of goes all the way through this, straight through. Like, MAD is it's still going on today. Like, MAD is still to the present day, like, that will still be the issue. So I'll just write now for this. This is so hard to do with the clicker. I'm gonna get out my mouse here. So MAD has always been the continuum, and this is true if you're a world history student. This is also true for you. Okay. So MAD is will be and always will be as long as there's nuclear weapons, and there pretty much always will be unless we go into like World War III, and then World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. That's a good quote from Albert Einstein. So MAD will always be there. But the first step that it really goes through is like at the outbreak of the Cold War, and that is, in terms of like U.S. response to things, that's containment. Okay. Now, again, containment will also kind of go through, like the other ones will. Okay, so like it will even go through up until now. Like the containment is still kind of a United States policy, but that containment is really kind of what dominates the first, I guess, like 20 years of the Cold War. So, okay, so we can just call this, we'll call this time period 1945 to, I don't know, when is Nixon was elected in 1968, so that's what I would call that. So that's like the start of containment, and then from there, I would say that really the big game changer in '68 is Nixon, and he should probably deserve his own thing. And then that is détente, which is that lovely French word. World history kids, you don't need to know détente. That's a DCUSH thing. And then the last one I would say would be kind of like Reagan and Bush. Because Reagan is often credited for ending the Cold War. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Kind of complicated. And then Bush is actually the guy who's in power, Elder Bush, not George W. Bush, who's in power when the Soviet Union falls apart. So like that's what I would say are like the three areas. But even containment goes through all of that, because like the United States in the 1980s is still doing things in containment, like in Afghanistan. So that's what I kind of tell you. So this is like 1, 2, and then 3. Does that make sense? Hopefully, maybe so. Okay. What parts of the Renaissance is going to be on the final? Well, it's whatever is. I would tell you to go back and look at what were our objectives with that. So let's see. I'm gonna flip myself back over the desktop here so I can see what's going on. Okay. So the Renaissance. What part with that? Well, if we go and look here. The not-so-radical Renaissance is what I believe that was called. Okay, so let's see what we pull up here. How many questions on the World History Final? 76. For Gile, 72. I'm going to delete that drawing now. Point. Okay, so let's see. What were our objectives with the Renaissance? I believe we were talking about how it really wasn't as radical as people think. Yeah, or the not-so-real radical European Renaissance. Let's see here. My computer's really slow because I'm doing the live stream at the same time. Yep, 76 questions, and no using any alphabet keys. So basically it means there's multiple choice, matching, etc., etc. Explain the origins of the European Renaissance in Italy and its spread northward, and then describe how the Renaissance influenced the everyday life of people, which we know wasn't much at all. But you need to know why that's true, right? So how does the Renaissance influence the life of everyday people? And then the origins of the European Renaissance in Italy, and so why does it start in Italy? And then how does it spread northward? And I guarantee you that the answer to both of those questions is in the notes. So that was what you needed to know with the Renaissance. Yes, détente started with Nixon. Yep. And because remember, Nixon goes to China, and he's the one who, and I can't remember if I was there because that day I taught only my beach day classes that lesson. But Nixon, he actually goes to China and meets with the Chinese premier, and really kind of gets kind of relations started with them. Yep. So to keep looking down, I'm trying to see if you guys ask any questions. But yep, Nixon's the one who starts the taunt. And there's some debate as to whether like he was really like he intentionally did it, or whether it was just like kind of a happy, fortunate mistake that he took advantage of. There's still quite a bit of debate out there as to whether he deserves really the credit for that. However, it did happen with him, so. Like, yeah. And détente even has like a little accent over it. It's D and T. It has a little dash accent over the first E. Détente. Detente. Hmm? Oh, you want me to take him? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can hold him. I mean, will he fall asleep on my chest? He's already asleep. I know. My kid said that if Booker showed up on screen, that I would get 10,000 instantly, 10,000 subscribers, and probably like a diamond play button. Let's go over and grab him. I want to go grab something out of the fridge first, though. I feel like food is motivating me more right now. Okay. So that was actually not anything. Let's go ahead and type that in as a 0. I'm afraid, like, if I make him cry, too, like, that would suck. I'm afraid if I make him cry, that would suck. That's a very arced back he's got there. He's so out. Is this when Booker wants to be on YouTube for the first time? Do we have Booker's consent? Does he need consent? Leroy Jenkins! Thanks for subscribing, Bryce. Appreciate it, man. I had another one too, but I don't know what's happening with my other ones. I had like Darth Vader, and gotta see what's going on with that. Leroy Jenkins. The weird thing was I was actually alive when that reference came out. Charge. This will burn out rather quickly, so eventually I will have to swap it back over. My computer's burning power so fast. Oh my god, that was great. I know, it's Leroy Jenkins, man. World of Warcraft, dude. I'm gonna go put it in the button. I won't eat very much.
Go cook yourself food first.
I will. I'm not. We'll be fine. Alright.
You're setting a bad example.
No, I'm not. Setting a great example. I'm guessing my cat walked across your guys' screen, but I'm only guessing that because he's up here. And because he's a jerk. Oh no, you're not getting any. Absolutely not. Please start a gaming YouTube channel. Dude, I wish I had the time. Because I feel like I would really, really enjoy that. Because I do love, like, I think, and I don't mean to get on like a 10-minute diatribe here, but I think I could talk about this for a long time. I think that, in a weird way, and actually I think in a really powerful way, video games can take people to understand worlds and lessons and like some really deep, meaningful like things in the universe that people don't get to experience in a normal life. Just because, for example, you might live in the middle of Montana and you can't understand what it's like to go to space and have to make decisions like, do I save 5 people or save 1? But I think like there's some really I think where video games are really powerful is that they can make us, they can put us in situations where we have the experience in and of itself really teaches you something very, very powerful. Whether or not that's like a really good story, or whether or not it's like lessons about morality, or like just taking the moment to kind of like appreciate like natural beauty. I think video games really can like change the way that we understand and perceive the world. So I'm all down for them. As long as they like are actually something of quality and not just like I'm gonna go hop on multiplayer and play Call of Duty for 16 hours and hit up 5 prestiges because that's the meaning of my life. No, like I think there is obviously, in video games, a place where it does teach you about tactics and strategy. And my favorite game of all time, and always will be Starcraft, which is like the tactical game. And that can teach you loads about like game theory, which is, or called the prisoner's dilemma, or can teach you about, how to process, lots of things going on at the same time. But I really just don't have time for like games that are entertainment for the sake of entertainment, as much as that kind of sounds silly. So, anyways, I could talk about that for a really long time, but MOBAs, mass online, can't remember what MOBA stands for again. Too many acronyms floating around. I mean, I would call it RTS, real-time strategy, but what'd they do? What'd they do?
They put cotton balls in front of the VSU.
Great. Oh, Battle Arena. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would call StarCraft that. I mean, if that's what you're talking about, but because I grew up on it, like when the original StarCraft came out, and was a big Brood War guy, and now enjoy StarCraft 2. I mean, still enjoy Brood War, but what am I eating? I'm eating cookie dough. League of Legends, man, I can't stand that game. I mean, I understand why, because I played it for a time, and I understand why it's so captivating, but like, oh god, it's got issues. Anywho. Nice wands, Chief. Oh yeah, we got a whole like Harry Potter. I don't know how much you can see it, but we have like a whole Harry Potter background, and we have all the books, and you can't really see it, but like over here, got pants on pants on pants, tons of baby diapers, and then we also have for Booker's Nursery, it is all Harry Potter themed, so that's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's called the nursery, Booker's room, yes. Be right back. Okay, special guest. Oh. Oh, there we go.
Oh, look at his face.
What are you doing?
The wake up eyes, the big blue eyes.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if we'll open our eyes here a little bit. Yeah. We'll see if we open our eyes. Oh, yes. God, that would be awful if I dropped him while I was live streaming. I'd feel horrible.
Why are you bringing that up?
I'm just saying, like, that would be, like, the worst of the worst. Yeah, let's not do that. What's up, buddy? Yeah. I don't understand how this is a comfortable position, but okay, dude, whatever. You're just gonna sleep on camera? Sounds like you're shirking your duties. Fellow members. Jesus. I'm not even gonna respond to that, Joshua. Yeah. Oh, do you want to open your eyes? Oh, yes, we do. Okay. Come here. Hi, buddy. It's okay. It's okay. Oh, I know. Life is so hard. You're okay. See? You're fine. Oh, he's so cute. Yes, he is a cutie. Even though he gets upset sometimes, right, buddy? Probably blew out your microphone, but he is a cutie. You gonna open your eyes, or you just gonna stay asleep? Seemed like you didn't want to wake up. Yeah, life is just so difficult. And volume goes to 50%. Yep, pretty much. Do you want to wake up and not scream? That would be nice. You gonna open up your eyes? I saw some of my movement there. I know what you're up to. Sleeping on the job. Hey, yo. Hi, buddy. Boink, boink, boink. See, Dad's sitting on the balance balls. That way he's already ready to rock you. Alright, what other world history questions you guys have? Or DCUSH? Besides me holding a baby. Yes. But that's not historical. Oh, whoa, you don't say. Do you want to open up your eyes? Maybe? Thinking about it. Yeah. I know. Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah. I'm thinking about opening up our eyes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Booker says you guys should ask more questions. Yeah, I know. I know it makes me want to yell guttural things too.
Oh, is he awake?
We're getting there. I wouldn't say we're necessarily awake. We're trying to sleep even though Dad's here. Oh, I know. I don't have one.
Attached to him.
Oh, well, that's clever. Hey. Oh, you lost it. Hey, big guy. Hey. Big guy. Hey. I got him.
He's good.
I think it's just that we're waking back up. Oh, there we go. Got him. Perfect. Yeah. I know it makes me so upset when students don't turn their homework in either. It makes me so mad. What?
I'm debating whether I can take a shower.
Yeah, you can. You're fine. Go.
Well, it's right around when he's feeding.
Oh. Well, I mean, go now or forever hold your peace, you know? I don't know. I'm not in this class anymore, but hey, I see you have a child. Yes, John, I did have a baby. Uh-huh. Well, I didn't have the baby, my wife did, but... Oh, yes, I know. Oh, there's some eyes. Oh, there you go. You...
Will you bring it?
Yeah, I'll bring you two.
Hey. Hey.
That voice.
Hey, good boy. Hey, boy.
Oh, somebody didn't want to be woken up. That's okay. Regret not taking DCUSH. I have had a steady A- all semester in regular US history. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say your grade would be, or anybody's grade for that matter, would be stellar in any upper level class. But yeah, John, I wish we could have had you. What? That was fine. I always recommend people take harder courses. I mean, not ones that are like outside their league, but I always recommend trying to challenge yourself. Because if you're not challenging yourself, and so, I mean, obviously, if you're not interested in it, that doesn't make sense. But, you know, I try to tell people, like, if it's something you're interested in, you had better challenge yourself in it, because that's how you learn, is by being confused and having to deal with really difficult topics. DCUSH is neat. That's neat. I remember when I was neat once. It was awful. So just about an hour here, guys, and then I'm going to be hopping off here because I want to go for a run, and I need to get more grades for you guys done, and yeah. Might take it senior year. Yeah, dude, you can take it whenever you want. I mean, I wouldn't recommend taking it as like a sophomore or a freshman, but if you want to take it senior year, that's totally cool. History's always been my subject, and I always want to look deep into things. Yeah, dude. History teaches you, especially war history. Okay, well, if you're a war history guy, I can understand that. That's where I started. I was obsessed with wars. I think like just because they're dramatic, and it's kind of like very kind of glorious sometimes how those things were painted. And now like getting older, like man, like war sucks. The other thing about war never changes. There's your Fallout reference for this evening. War never changes. But yeah, if you wanna look like deep into things, dude, history, and not just history, but like also the humanities, is super important. And John, no, I have not actually seen that video yet. Tristan was pointing me out to yeah, Tristan pointed that out to me the other day, and I have not taken the moment to watch it. I think I'll try to do that this evening for like a break. Could you talk about the views of conservatives counter to the New Left in the early 60s? Yeah, sure. That's a super interesting topic. So, like, if you go and look at the 1960s, like, when Vietnam is starting, so, like, 65 up through, like, I'd say, like, 70, it's, like, all that people are going to talk about is the New Left. But there is this other side that is the conservative kind of response to that. Now, it's like, to be sure, not nearly as strong as the New Left is, both in visibility and also just sheer numbers. But like, so conservatives really were much more of a reaction to the New Left than they were kind of like their own cohesive ideology. So there's much more reactionary. They're not like a proactive kind of group, at least based on my understanding. So conservatives kind of protested about a bunch of things on student campuses. So like, I'm trying to like frame this correctly. So like today, there have been recently there's been like a lot of protests at UC Berkeley and a couple other places. And what the New Left was famous for doing back in, or should I say certain elements of the New Left was famous for doing, was when college campuses or colleges would invite like some very controversial or like people from the Nixon administration to come and speak on campus, or the Kennedy administration to come speak on campus. Like there, I mean, you can find film footage of it. Like they would shout down these people trying to come to campus to talk. And this was especially true at UC Berkeley. So like, what the New Left got blamed for was not allowing freedom of speech, which was kind of, it's ironic in a whole bunch of ways. But conservatives were really, really very much in support of the administration's foreign policy, the United States administration's foreign policy. So definitely supporters of the Vietnam War. They were big fans of promoting free speech, certainly for their side. And then also conservatives really just kind of like made fun of the New Left. So like the one really cool example that I always remember is at IU, where they made the pizza, what was it called? It was Beer and Pizza Marching Society, where like literally their only job was to go march around campus at IU and just drink beer. Like, because that was making fun of all the protests that people on the New Left were doing. So yeah, they're really, really cool. It's really cool to kind of like study that dynamic, I think. Hi, buddy. What's up? Yeah. I know that was not a very satisfactory walk that we took when we went home. No, it wasn't. Yes, but I will have to watch that, John, if I get the opportunity. Maybe they should do like a historians react to that video. That would be really cool. Like historians react to, horrible, awful, like history-made videos. Hi, buddy. Yeah, I know you're demanding a camera time, aren't you? You gonna get your Andy Warhol 15 minutes of fame? No, okay, that's fine. You're welcome. It's interesting stuff, dude. Love U.S. history. There's a couple of curse words, but it's pretty entertaining, and the graphics and design is solid. Yeah. My young virgin ears better not hear those couple of curse words. No, it's fine. I wish it was something that like I could, when I watch it, if it's something I could use in class, it would be kind of cool. But I doubt it's going to be that, because I'm going to guess it's going to jump all over the place if it's doing the history of the world. So, in what, 20 minutes or something? It's meme-tastic. Perhaps even meme fabulous. What games have I been into lately? It's been a while. I'm playing through Prey right now. But before that, I made myself go back to Alien Isolation because Alien Covenant came out. It was so good. I went back to Alien Isolation and I played it through Nightmare mode, which is the hardest mode on it, and it was a pain. I felt like I was crawling through it, and I think it took me like 36 hours, the campaign, just because like there were times when like moving across a single room, like it took me 30 minutes to move about 6 feet. But right now I'm playing through, yeah, it's definitely true, Tristan. Right now I'm playing through Prey, and I like it. It's got some issues, but it almost reminds me of like a little bit like a Deus Ex, which is pretty good. I really enjoyed the first Deus Ex, and then the second one was a little bit disappointing. But yep, I'm playing through Prey right now. I really like it. It's kind of slow going, but I think after that, then I'll go do Resident Evil because I wanted to hit that up, but I haven't really had the time. And truth be told, I'm kind of like scared. So. Oh God, can I talk about how accurate or inaccurate Battlefield 1 portrays real World War I fighting? Jesus, I could talk for ages about that. I mean, here's the thing. You cannot... What Battlefield 1 reminds me of is the classic, how do I make another conflict into... something that it wasn't, so that way I can sell another game. That's what Battlefield 1 is. Because World War I, hey look, we can tie it into class. World War I sucked. And the idea, so like first of all, let's just talk about the planes, because we can do planes. So airplanes are for the first time used in World War I. But like the way they're used in that game takes a really long time to come about. So like I'll give you an example here. So the first air-to-air casualty combat, like air-to-air, so like one pilot killing another pilot, casualty that happened was when a pilot threw a brick at another pilot and killed him. Which is by far the most pro-MLG way to kill somebody with an airplane. You throw a brick out of it and you hit another pilot and you kill him. Now, what they then started to do is like, hey, like we should put machine guns on top of these things and we should fire them. Well, that works. And then they realize, well, the problem with putting a machine gun on top of a plane is that, one, you either have to have somebody like else with you to fire it, which is kind of a pain because then your plane weighs more, which means it's slower, which means it's less maneuverable. Okay, so how do we get rid of another person in there? Well, we have the pilot fire the machine gun. Well, how do you have the pilot fire the machine gun when he can only fire at where he's looking, because he also has to steer the plane? So like, okay, we'll mount it on the front. Well, there's a problem with that because there's still no jet planes and won't be until the 1950s and 60s. And so then you have the problem of people like putting the machine gun, like, so you have the machine gun, right? So like, here's the airplane, nice airplane, and you've got the airplane, and then you can't put the machine gun. So like, because how airplanes work is you have a propeller on the front, right? So like, you can't put the machine gun here because like it would literally like, so if this is the propeller out here, you can't put the machine gun here because you would shoot off the propeller. And actually, a lot of the early tests did that. They just like totally shear up the propeller and they crash. So then you have to figure out the engineering tidbit where when you press the trigger for the machine gun, that it automatically fires in between the blades of the propeller, and that's eventually how you get like these ridiculous dogfights in World War I. So, for World War I, could you explain the Espionage Act of 1917 and Wilson's 14 points? Sure. So the Espionage Act of 1917. So this is really another way that the U.S. government kind of brings in the whole idea of coercive volunteerism that we talked about. It doesn't volunteer people, but it is certainly the United States government clamping down on society. So the Espionage Act, it's still in place today in certain respects, but it gives the United States government the permission to read mail. Any German American, because remember, or if you remember, they were designated as enemy aliens during the war. They couldn't live within like a certain radius of military bases. And there's a whole bunch of other things that go into the Espionage Act. Really, it's just kind of like clamping down on people's free speech. And there's a whole bunch about that Espionage Act. There's more on it in the slides if you like. Wilson's 14 points? Sure. So Woodrow Wilson, after World War I, he basically proposes, and through these 14 points, to solve all the world's problems. Now, I'm grossly generalizing there, but he says that the way to fix World War I to never happen again is to do these 14 points. And so some of it's like freedom of navigation, freedom for self-determination of peoples, only certain peoples though, not anybody who'd been colonized. So meaning like if there was a racial minority group living in another country, they shouldn't have to be part of that country anymore. And that should kind of sound familiar because that's kind of what started World War I, was when the Serbians, who were kind of owned by Austria, when they assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand. And then the 14th point, of course, is the League of Nations. So for Woodrow Wilson, like his 14 points are his baby. And I hope you remember what happens. Like he tries to go and convince the American, public to go for the 14 points, and they don't. And then he kind of dies of a stroke. When you are done, can you explain how the shooting at Columbine High School influences school security today? That's a really good question, and I'm not sure how. I mean, I can talk about like how school shootings generally have changed things, just because I know about this from both a teaching kind of and a historical standpoint. So Columbine being one of the most recognizable mass murders in schools that we're familiar with up until Sandy Hook. John, I would tell you to look into stuff like school resource officers, metal detectors. If you can, with Columbine, I would be pretty interested so there's a policy, and I can't remember the name of it because I had to know this with my special education degree, of where people who come into the school can only come in through one entrance, and that's done in every school across the United States today. At least it should be if they have a secure school environment. So like the only place, for example, at Beech Grove High School where people can come in is through the main entrance, and then there's a buzzer system and a whole bunch of other things. I think also too, though, you might want to look on like the psychological side of things, because I think maybe there might be a connection there with like school counselors. I think that'd be kind of an interesting thing to explore, but really I'm not sure. I don't know. So I'm not going to claim that I know what I don't. Yeah, feels bad, man. Hashtag Wilson, hashtag stroke. Actually, well, for him, it didn't feel very bad just because he couldn't feel half of his body. And that was, as I'm sure, very, very uncomfortable. But that's kind of a horrible joke, so feels bad, man. Special education degree, what did I specialize in? So my special education degree has the title of mild interventions, meaning I can do pretty much everything up until the point of extreme cases of autism, emotional disability, and Down syndrome are kind of like the big three. And then, but in terms of like what I can specialize in, it's pretty much like anything under the sun in terms of SPED. So ADD, ADHD, ODD, OHI. Like I can just keep on listing off acronym after acronym. But yep. In terms of what I really specialized in that though, I'm not sure if I like really specialized with inside of anything with special ed. Just kind of like mild interventions. So it's kind of like an all-encompassing kind of thing. Oh yeah, right, okay. Suffer from deaf and hard of hearing. Interesting. Yeah. Oh, poor guy. Is life hard right now? Is life hard right now? Deaf and hard of hearing is normally a different specialty you do. So inside the realm of special education, I know. Okay, I see what you're saying. Specialties. So there's the actual SPED teachers, okay, who do. The SPED teachers who do the interventions in the classroom, and then you have other things. So sometimes you have like adult and child who like they kind of work with social workers, which is another group, and then you have so and then you'll have school psychologists, and they do a different job entirely. Hi. The moment when you think you can attack the Russians during the winter. Yeah. Yeah, it's actually true, John. The Germans did not give their soldiers winter coats because they thought the war was going to be. They thought it was going to be over that fast, and they were almost right. So. I think he wants another walk. But John, there's also some really Russian winters are nothing to joke about. There is some really pitiful video you can find of because the problem in World War II, and God, I wish I had time to talk about this and other things, but it's just not time. So I guess I can talk about it now. So what happens is that when Germany attacks, they attack really late. And I believe it's June is the start of Operation Barbarossa. Somebody can look that up. Which is pretty late to start a campaign to attack Russia. Because if you're going to do it, you better start in April or March. So when Hitler goes for it, it's kind of bad timing in and of itself. And then when they start the attack, so how Russia works is it's pretty easy to go across from east to west. There's not a whole lot stopping you. And so when Hitler, as they get closer and closer and closer and closer to Moscow, there's 3 army groups that are going there. There's Army Group North, Center, and South. And so the North is, let's see, so the North, the 3 army groups, so it would actually be going this way. So Army Group North, its objective was St. Petersburg, but it had been renamed. I can't remember what it's a black, or it's a port on the north side that I cannot remember, and it had done fine. Army Group North, there was no problems. Army Group Center was struggling a little bit, but still heading towards Moscow. Really not very many issues. And then Army Group South was really struggling, and they were Army Group South was supposed to be heading towards, and I'm going to look up the name of the city, because if I don't, Group South German target, because it's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember it. Heeresgruppe Süd. What's its name? What was its objective? That's what because I can't remember the city, because it's super famous. Oh, Kiev. That's what it was. Gosh, gee dang it. Okay, so yes, so Army Group South was attempting, so they're here, okay, and as they head across Russia, they're going really slowly. And so Hitler makes the choice to actually have Army Group Center stop and then swing down and take, basically outflank the Russians at Kiev. And that is basically, that's like the moment where they capture like thousands of Russian troops, and it's actually a pretty darn good victory for the Germans. Now the problem with that is because they stopped going, Army Group Center stopped going towards Moscow, is that when they resume that campaign to get there before the winter, they don't make it. Because eventually what starts to happen is that when Russia heads towards winter, it starts to rain, and everything just basically turns to mud, and it sucks. And so what you have to do then is you have to wait. You have to wait for the freeze to happen, because that's the only way you can move things. And so when temperatures hit like -60 degrees, there's some really pitiful video of Germans just like freezing their tushies off, trying to stay warm. It's pretty awful. For the Nixon presidency, stagnation seems really big. Could you clarify on it? Yeah, so stagflation happens during Nixon as well as during Reagan's term. So, stagflation. Yeah, I can clarify it. I'm going to whip up another Google drawing. 1 second. Because I have to explain this with economics. I cannot explain this. 1 second. I'm going to pop open a document here so I can explain stagflation. Now again, this may not, it's been a while since I've dug into stagflation and how this looks on supply-demand charts, but I'll do my best here. Okay. So I'm going to flip over my screen here so you guys can see what I'm up to. It's absolutely no good, I guarantee you. Okay. So, let's take a look here. So what is stagflation? How does it work? So the first thing you need to understand is that when stagflation happens, it is not a good thing to happen to your economy. It happens for a bunch of kind of complicated reasons. Some of it's that baby boomers, there were too many of them, and that meant that there was too much labor, which basically means that wages can go because employers don't have to pay you as much. Let's see, what else? There's growing demand in Japan, or growing production in Japan. So like American manufacturing is starting to be competed a little against. So there's that. There's the OPEC oil embargo. And then there's kind of a couple other variety of causes too. But I'm going to go ahead and explain this, how it works in an economy, okay? So I'll need a line here. Let's make this a little bit thicker. Okay, that's better. Okay, so here's how things work. Okay, So whenever, you gotta be kidding me. So whenever you are looking at economics, okay, it's all about supply and demand. Now, what happens, okay, is that a long-term supply curve, okay, so this is like when we're looking at over a period of years, and there's like, we're talking about the economy as a whole, okay. 1 second, I'm gonna sneeze. There we go. Okay, so what this looks like, okay, so what the demand curve looks like is this, and then this, okay? So, and I'll go back and recolor these. So this is demand. So this is how people demand for prices, or people's demand relative to price. Okay, so I'll keep that blue. Okay, now, how supply then works, okay, is a straight line. Okay, so normally what happens, okay, in an economy is it should look something like this, okay, and again I'll explain what this is. So red is so here, come on, thank you. So here's supply. And again, this is a simplistic explanation. When you go take economics at senior year, this is it'll become a lot more clear why this is. Okay, so here's how stagflation works, right? So in a depression, your economy contracts essentially. Okay, so there's less jobs available. There's less output. Things are not made as much. So that's like obviously a huge problem. So what happens in stagflation, okay, is that we get this weird phenomenon where we have a depression happen, and I'll show you how that looks here. Okay, so supply gets shrunk essentially, which really sucks. Okay, you don't ever want to have that happen. Or I mean, you really don't want to ever have a depression happen. Okay, so so supply retreats, and then demand also shrinks. Okay, so this little blue line here, this guy, demand can even, because like if consumer confidence falls, that will also shrink. And I'll change this so you can see. Okay, so. Okay, so essentially, you're now producing so if we've basically moved. Okay, I'll take you for a walk soon. You're fine. So we've moved from this black dot here to this one right here. We're basically producing less, and that's what a contraction looks like. All right. Now, you'll notice here that this is technically because over on I know you can't see the left-hand side of this bar because I don't have a label. The left-hand side of this would say price. Normally prices go down, like in a depression, because people aren't buying as much. There's not as much demand. However, in stagflation, it's really bad because your money also becomes worthless. So like, I know we say that this looks like a contraction on our screen, but even though you're buying less, now the money that you've had has also become even more worthless than before. So stagflation is super hard on your economy, and it's really bad to have. Red Scare, what is the importance of the bourgeoisie versus the proletariat? It's super important. It's like the foundation of what communism believes, pretty much. Bourgeoisie, upper class, proletariat, lower class. Oh, and thanks, Sean. Have fun. I've never played Zombie Chronicles, so. Yeah, like bourgeoisie and the proletariat, like, you gotta know it. It's big. It's a big deal. I'll go ahead and trash this. Okay. Okay, guys, so I'm going to probably be cutting this off here pretty darn soon, because my dog is going to kill me if I do not do so. Right quick. And it says that none of you are on here, so this might just be a good time to cut it off. So yeah, let's just do that. That's fine. Guys, unless you have another question, I think I'll leave it there. So I'm glad I answered some of your guys' questions. For me, even if I answer just one question, it's worth it. So, any more questions? I'll give you about 30 seconds to answer, and then I'm gonna jump. Okay. Go ahead, Dylan. You're fine. I see you. I'll take you for a walk soon, don't you? Yeah. What kind of walk do you want to take? Where do you want to go? You want to go canal-y? Yeah. Dylan, I hope you hurry, because my dog is going to straight up murder me. Okay, there you are. Could you explain the beginning of World War I? I know it gets super complicated. I've spent half an hour trying to understand it. Yeah, sure. Okay. So, and you can go back and rewatch this, because YouTube will save it. Okay? So what happens? There's Serbia and Austria, right? Okay, haven't gotten along much in the past. A certain splinter element of Serbia, okay, now not affiliated with the Serbian government at all, they're like a radical group inside Serbia called the Black Hand, murders the heir to the Austrian throne. Okay, so that's Archduke Franz Ferdinand. When he's killed, okay, Austria basically gives Serbia an ultimatum, like, you have to do all these many things, unless, or if you don't, we're going to declare war. Now, they're specifically designed for them to never agree to any of the demands. Like, Austria-Hungary is really just one to take it out on Serbia for doing this, even though Serbia never did it. It's like one radical fringe element inside Serbia/Austria-Hungary. So Austria looks to Germany, who's its ally, and says, like, hey, can we do whatever we want? And Germany gives them what's called the blank check. Like, yeah, sure, go for it. And they invade and pretty much crush Serbia. Now, when they do that, Serbia freaks out and looks to its partner, who's Russia, for help. And Russia starts to mobilize their armies, which then causes Germany to panic, because Germany wanted to make sure that, like, it had World War I all mapped out in all these charts. Germany wanted to make sure that it had World War I on its terms. And now all of a sudden, it's not going to be that way. So what does Germany do? It mobilizes and it attacks France, trying to knock it out of the war really, really quickly. And the problem that would have, obviously, if France declares war, okay, yeah, duh, is now that Germany is on a two-front war. The other problem that happens is when Germany goes to attack France, is that it goes north through Belgium, and Belgium Belgium's ally was Great Britain, and so that brings them into the war, and that's really how the whole conflict gets started. Does that make sense? And then, of course, it all gets blamed on Germany, so hey. Okay, I'm gonna take you for a walk. Don't you worry, your puppy little heart. Home countries and colonies in the Americas? Sure. The relationship between those two, home countries are there to exploit their colonies. Colonies are there to have all the resources as much as possible sucked out of them. Now also, oh, you're welcome, Dylan. Also, they're there to, the colonies are there to be a source of labor, to provide raw materials, going along the same lines. But then eventually they will send people to go live in those places too. So that's what I'd say the relationship is. It's a very one-sided kind of relationship. Okay, so Anthony, I'm gonna leave it there, okay, bud? So I gotta get going. Yeah, it was fun. We got to talk about lots of random things, especially video games. So other than that, I'll see you guys later, okay? I enjoyed it. Enjoyed our time. It was fun. Wish I had more time to do these kind of things. So okay. Other than that, yeah. So it was good. It was an hour and 30 minutes. That's good for me. I was going for 2 hours, but life gets in the way. So other than that, I'll see you guys later, okay? And good luck studying. See ya.